Welcome to the magnificent Cathedral Church of Christ, Blessed Virgin Mary and St Cuthbert of Durham. This incredible building was created in just 40 years by the Norman monks and masons, and it was here because St Cuthbert came here in his coffin in 995 for the Anglo-Saxon predecessors to establish themselves, having left Chesterley Street. So the story of St Cuthbert is a very special one. He was a monk. He became the Bishop of Lindisfarne and lived on Lindisfarne until 687. And when he died, the monks buried him, and 11 years later the monks brought up the body, opened the coffin and found that his body was incorrupt. It looked like he died the day before. And this really instilled the cult and the legend of Cuthbert. So when he was alive, many people would go and see him, and then even more people would go and see him even though he was dead, and to pay homage to him and get spiritual advice and guidance from Cuthbert. So in 795, when the monks had to leave Lindisfarne because of the marauding peoples of the Vikings, they spent some time travelling around the north, and then eventually in Chesterley Street, 112 years they spent there, and then they came here in 995. Now the story is that they had to try and find a new place because they had to leave because of the Vikings, and they got within 2 miles of Durham, and they found that the cart that had the coffin on the top couldn't move anymore. So they stopped, they prayed and they fasted for 3 days and 3 nights, and then they had a vision that reputedly that came from St Cuthbert, and it told them they had to go to the place known as Durham. They didn't know where Durham was, but in the morning they overheard 2 milkmaids. One said to the other, "Have you seen my cow?" And the other one said, "Yes, I've seen it at Durham." So the monks knew where to go. Durham is the Old English for Durham. It means hill island. And if you look at a map of Durham, you can sort of see how you've got this horseshoe river on a hillside, very steep-sided hillside. So it's almost like a hill island. So they followed the milkmaids and they came here. They built their first church, a white wooden church, and then a stone church. And then after the Battle of Hastings in 1066, William the Conqueror went across the land building motte and bailey castles, and he came to Durham and he decided to build a stone castle in 1072, and to ensure that he had the power to subjugate the Anglo-Saxon peoples, he then 10 years later started building this magnificent cathedral. Now they start doing that, it takes 40 years, and they translate the coffin and the shrine of the Anglo-Saxon church into the new cathedral, and this allows many more people to come and visit and to come on a pilgrimage. In fact, what you can see is this magnificent chapel of the 9 altars, and they built 9 altars because so many people were coming and wanted to pay homage to Cuthbert and to come and pray. And during this medieval period, Durham Monastery becomes one of the wealthiest places in England. The shrine becomes very bejeweled, and obviously it is worth a lot of money. So in 1540, when we have the Henry VIII and the dissolution of the monasteries, they come here and they take all the jewels, they take all the money, but they are very much afraid of the power of St Cuthbert. So actually, even though they open the coffin, they don't find what's in there. There's lots of things, amazing things to see, which you can see in the Durham Cathedral Museum, but they don't bother because they are a little bit spooked, really. And so they leave it, and they leave this magnificent building. It doesn't get destroyed, unlike 650 monasteries across the land. So let me show you this fantastic Durham Cathedral, and the fact that it's a World Heritage Site, mainly because inside the nave you have this stone rib-vaulted ceiling. It's one of the first places in the world where they did this, and in 1985, 1986 it becomes dedicated as a World Heritage Site. It's been classed as the best building in the world as per a 1999 survey, and the very famous architectural historian Nicholas Pevsner said this is a European masterpiece. So please come to Durham and I will show you this cathedral and many of the other wonders of Durham City.